The reason why so many Americans are broke is that anytime you get a raise, you also inflate your lifestyle. I mean, if you ask out 100 Americans, what would help you in a financial situation today? All 100 of them would say, oh man, if I just got a $10,000 raise, all of my financial problems would be solved. I'd have more money to invest, more money to save, more money to buy groceries and whatnot. But what we've seen happen statistically, and I'm not just saying this, I'm saying statistically, is that when the vast majority of Americans go out and make more money, they end up in a bigger financial hole. How do we know this? Because when Americans go out and they get more money, they go out and they buy a faster car, they buy a bigger home, or they go on a vacation to celebrate. And then many times now when you make more money, the bank also looks at you and they say, oh, now you make more money, huh? How about another line of credit? How about another credit card? How about a bigger debt line? You qualify for more debt as you make more money as well, which makes it easier for you to go out and spend more money you don't have also. And that's why so many people end up in a bigger financial hole as they start to make more money, which is why as you start to make more money, keep your lifestyle small for a little while. I call it like a 6-month delay. Don't increase your lifestyle at all for 6 months. Just take that extra money and invest it. And then when you get the next pay raise, well, now you start living off of the previous pay raise. That way now you can keep increasing how much money you invest. I mean, that's a simple way that you can just accelerate how much money you invest, is that when you start making more money, do not inflate your lifestyle. That will allow you to increase your wealth much faster. And unfortunately, most people don't do that. So now you start earning more money, you start spending less money, so you have more money to invest. Now what do? You got to invest this money like crazy. I call this a decade of sacrifice. Because many people assume that when you start investing, you're going to be able to reap the rewards of your investments tomorrow or next year. That's not how it works. It's like planting a farm. You can plant the farm right now, but you're not going to get your fruits tomorrow. You might have to wait a year to really start seeing the rewards of what you planted, maybe even a few years, depending on what you're planting. And this is where now you got to understand investing is a long-term game. The people that build the real wealth with investments are not people that are investing for 6 months. Even 6 years. We're talking about for a decade or more. And I call it a decade of sacrifices because it takes time to, number one, start putting this system to work, to spend less and earn more, to then put the money here, but then it also takes time to let your money compound and grow. Now, like what I was saying earlier in this video, there are so many ways to invest, and they can get very, very, very overwhelming because now you have everybody saying, oh, you got to invest in index funds. No, invest in rental properties. No, invest in ETFs. No, invest in real estate syndicate deals. No, invest in these types of ETFs, mutual funds or derivatives or options. Or no, go out and start investing in startup companies. It can get very overwhelming. And now you have all these options. You don't know where to start. But the key is you just got to get started. Stocks, real estate, and businesses have been time-tested to prove and build more wealth than any other asset class. So now, just figure out what are you interested in and where are you willing to start. If you want to start investing in the stock market, it requires the least barrier to entry and the lowest amount of money to start. I mean, you can start investing your money in the stock market as little as $1, $10, $100, it doesn't matter. And the nice thing is there are funds, things like ETFs or index funds. I got other videos on my channel that will go over what those are, that will give you exposure to things like the total stock market. Because what ends up happening next is people will say, oh, what company should I invest in? You start going to Google. What's the next hot stock? What's the next Google? What's the next Amazon? And now when you do that, you're trying to find the next hot company. And now you turn into a trader trying to find the next hot flip, the next hot stock. And that's why so many people end up losing money, is because when you start investing in companies without understanding what the company is or what the fundamentals are, or without actually trying to invest for the long term, well, now you're one of the people that ends up losing when the markets start to go down. And you got to understand, markets don't go straight up. But if you just invest in the stock market and you keep putting more money into the stock market for the course of a decade or a couple decades, well, what we've seen happen through the last century is that the stock market has gone up despite market crashes, despite recessions, because we've seen a market crash or recession pretty much every decade for the last century. And yet the stock market has still risen despite every market crash and recession. And so now, if you don't know how to do the research, that's okay. You can just put your money into the stock market. There are funds that give you exposure to the S&P 500. That's the largest 500 companies in the stock market. There are funds that give you exposure to the Dow Jones. There are funds that give you exposure to the NASDAQ. There are funds that give you exposure to technology companies. There are funds that give you exposure to real estate companies. There are funds that give you exposure to international companies. So now, instead of you trying to go out and find the perfect company, you can just invest in an industry. Now, if you want to get more involved, fine. Now you can start understanding, how do you research companies? How do you analyze a company? What is a fundamental analysis? What is a company's moat? What is a company's real internal valuation? What is a company's actual profit? How much has the profit have been growing? How has the revenues been growing? Who is the executive structure? Or what is the executive structure of a company? Now you can start digging a little bit deeper. Now maybe you're interested in that, maybe you are not. But depending on where you are in this investment analysis game, you got to make your decisions accordingly. Just like that with real estate. You got to decide if real estate investing is right for you or not. I like investing in real estate. Maybe you'll hate it. Maybe you'll love it. It takes more money to get started. It takes more work to get started. You got to find the right team. You're going to have to deal with bad property managers. You're going to have to deal with bad contractors. Now you can get great returns. You can get great tax benefits. There's a lot of benefits to investing in real estate, but not everybody should or can be a real estate investor. Just like not how everybody should or can be an entrepreneur. Just like that with businesses. You got to understand, well, if you don't want to start a business, do you want to go out and buy a business? It takes more work, takes more time, but it's not for everybody. And this is where, again, you can go deep into the rabbit hole of all the different investment options, but the key is we just got to get started. The reason why so many people don't become wealthy isn't because they made the wrong investment. It isn't because they have the wrong expense ratio in their funds. It isn't because they didn't do all the right analysis. It's because they are not investing. The key is you got to just get started. Once you get started, you can start making adjustments because now you start to understand, oh, okay, maybe I want to invest more into this. Maybe I don't want to invest more into this. Once you have more skin in the game, you naturally become more involved. But the key is you got to start putting your money to work. Now, in the beginning of this video, I promised you that if you stuck with me until the end, I'm going to show you how you can get a copy of this ebook, How to Build Wealth as an Investor, for free. Now, the way you can get a copy of this is I got a link for you down in the description below. Where you can go to briefs.co/ebook. And in this ebook, we have tons of information, starting with how do you build a mindset of an investor, to then how do you start investing your money, different ways to invest your money, how do you generate cash flow, to then how do you spend your money smartly, to then how do you earn more money, to then how do you protect your assets, because let me tell you something, they start making more money, people are going to try to take a piece of that for themselves. So there's a ton of value in this ebook. You can read it for free. All you gotta do is click the link down in the description or go to briefs.co/ebook. And we also have tons of videos on my channel that will go over different investing things that you need to know to help build your financial education as well. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide on how to start generating passive income for free. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.